Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in Britain, Alistair Burt, has called on the Sri Lankan government to address questions of accountability with regard to alleged war crimes left unanswered in the LLRC report. Speaking during a debate at the House of Commons in London, he added that he has received word that the US is preparing a draft resolution on Sri Lanka to be presented at the UN Human Rights Council sessions and noted that the UK will likely support it.
I and many honourable members here today urge the British government to take action internationally. I believe strongly that an international investigation must be initiated. The creation of an international inquiry has been called for by the world's leading human rights and conflict prevention bodies, and most significantly, by the UN Secretary General panel of experts on Sri Lanka.
In respect of the tribunal that's been announced by the Sri Lankan army, surely that's a welcome development, isn't it? The fact that they are willing to, the army are willing to investigate any allegations of offences by the army. That is something which one would expect any armed forces in any democratic society to do, and surely that is a welcome move.
Indeed, the LLRC was only appointed by President Rajapaksa in the wake of domestic and international pressure to address issues of wartime accountability. The LLRC failed to satisfy international standards for independence and impartiality.
But I think the time has come for action. If we go back to when innocent people lost their lives, and I want to state here and now that I'm not making accusations against any particular individual. That's not my role as a Member of Parliament. But somebody does need to identify who did this, who killed people, and then justice must be given.
The British government should be raising the matter within the Commonwealth, and also following the lead of the Canadian Prime Minister, who has announced that unless the situation in Sri Lanka changes, he will not be attending the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Colombo in 2013.
I fear that with everything going on in the world at the moment, whether it be Syria, what happened in Libya, what's happening in Somalia and other countries, that a lot of people, including, forgive me, perhaps the government of Sri Lanka, hope this goes to the back burner. Well, I can give an assurance today on behalf of members from all sides of this House, it will not be going to the back burner. We want justice for everybody, and it needs to be done as quickly as possible.
It ought to be an aspiring leader within South Asia and indeed within the democratic Commonwealth. But the truth is that demands the highest possible standards of human rights. And the inescapable conclusion from this debate and from many other debates and commentaries around the world is that since the violent conclusion of the war in 2009, Sri Lanka's record during that period and since has not met those high standards, and that casts a rather dark shadow over the country's otherwise proud record in development and democracy.
But I believe that the potential of Sri Lanka has been shrouded by these atrocities and by the human rights desecrations by the government. We must apply diplomatic pressure to bring about change. I urge everyone here to support the people of Sri Lanka who have no voice to speak for themselves. We must be that voice for them.
Whilst I was in Sri Lanka, Mr. Benton, I saw quite a lot of positive progress that is being made, and that is not to dismiss the genuine concerns which many individuals raise, but at the same time it should be seen in the context of what is being done. A great deal of rehousing work has been done, with nearly 50,000 houses having been built. Resettlement is going well. But in response to the LLRC, we should recognise some of the actions that are being taken by the Sri Lankan government. And I found in my visit there, in meeting with representatives, be they parliamentarians or government ministers, that it was being taken seriously. There is welcome progress being made. We are in danger, Mr. Benton, of damaging that progress.
Given that we are the largest trading partner with Sri Lanka and our unique role in the Commonwealth, if the LLRC Commission recommendations are not implemented by the next session of the UN Human Rights Commission in September, will Britain at this point seriously look at boycotting the Commonwealth Leaders Summit in 2013?
Where there is progress to be made, where we believe the Sri Lankan government can and should do so, we still believe that a process which is led in Sri Lanka is better than one which is led internationally. But where progress cannot be made, we reserve the right to work with international partners to apply just that pressure to ensure progress should be made. And that's where we are still in terms of an independent investigation and in terms of the international aspects for it. We call on the government of Sri Lanka to move quickly to implement those recommendations and to address questions of accountability for alleged war crimes that were left unanswered by the LLRC report. We'll continue to work with international partners to support Sri Lanka in its pursuit of enduring peace and reconciliation. We are aware that the US are preparing a draft resolution for the Human Rights Council. We are likely to support it.